In 2021, vinyl record sales jumped 61% to 1 billion, the most since 1986, and for the first time since 1986, revenues from vinyl records were larger than that from CDs. CDs being the very format that tried to replace vinyl in the first place. How did the record fight back to become the true form of physical music, and will it last, or is it just a trend? As we know, vinyl records are far from a new thing, with various forms of audio playback using styles and grooves existing from the late 1800s onwards. The technology is so simple in fact that in 1977, NASA sent 2 golden records out into space in hopes that if ever found, aliens would be able to play it back. I mean, if we can play vinyl using a needle and a Pringles can, I'm sure aliens would be able to figure something out, but that's a video for another day. The vinyl's original downfall happened in 1984, when the cassette tape took over. The tape's advantages were that compared to vinyl, they were cheaper to make and they took up less space. Plus, their playback also required less space, allowing for portable cassette players and even ones that fitted into cars. However, the cassette tape didn't last forever, and was later overtook by the CD in 1991. The CD seemed like a compromise between the vinyl and the cassette tape, allowing for both an easy-to-transport format with a higher audio fidelity than that of the tape. However, unlike the vinyl that came before, the CD doesn't read physical grooves on the disc. Instead, the data is encoded digitally and then read later by a laser. This makes the CD a digital medium in most people's eyes, despite its physical form. From this point on, music would only get more digital, as digital music stores would open, some being illegal like Napster and LimeWire, and others being legal like the iTunes Store. Eventually, this more convenient method of choosing the exact music you wanted when you wanted it became the standard that the mass public wanted. Despite the record company's resistance, eventually this led to the rise of streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify that we have today. But if this is what consumers want now, why the revival of vinyl? Well, there's multiple factors to that. The first, I think, is the actual ownership you get of the music that you physically buy. We know that we don't own the music we get off streaming services, as when your subscription ends, so does your access to the full library of music. This is also the case with digital stores like iTunes. Just because you bought the album doesn't mean it's yours. If iTunes was to close down tomorrow, you don't own the file of that album, you're merely just buying a license to play that album on that specific platform. With physical music, however, as long as you have a device that can play it back, it's yours to play as much as you want, when you want. With this though, we would expect to see all physical forms of music be on the rise, and we know that's just not the case. The reason why vinyl has become the default physical medium for music, I think, is because of its cover art. In fact, ever since the vinyl was replaced, the room allotted to artwork has gotten smaller and smaller. So for those who want to physically collect their music, it makes sense that the vinyl, with its full album art sleeve, would be the choice. People also say that vinyl sounds better. But as that is a subjective thing, and with vinyl being an objectively less convenient way of listening to music compared to just having it on your phone, I think it's more the other reasons why vinyl has come back rather than just its sound quality. Despite the popularity of vinyls in recent years, the supply chain has shown some serious issues. For example, in 2021, Sony Music Group ordered 500,000 copies of Adele's upcoming album 30. This high demand for vinyl becomes a problem for the supply chain, when out of all the vinyl pressing plants there is said to be just 10 that have the capacity to produce large amounts of records. Because of this demand, independent artists miss out on being able to physically release their own music, despite it being the independent artists who kept the underground vinyl movement alive during its decades-long hibernation. This came to a head on March 14, 2022, when American musician Jack White, who if you didn't know runs his own vinyl record company called Third Man Records, uploaded a video to the official YouTube channel of Third Man Records called a plea to the 3 global major labels from Jack White.
This is Third Man Pressing, Third Man Records pressing plant that I built and opened in 2017 using my own money. It's 2022 now, and it's no longer a fad. Vinyl records have exploded in the last decade, and their demand is incredibly high. A small punk band can't get their record for 8 to 10 months. And I now ask the major labels, Warner Brothers, Universal, and Sony, to finally build your own pressing plants again. As the MC5 once said, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. Thank you.
It will be interesting to see what comes of this, and whether the 3 global major labels will put an end to the supply chain issues. But just like Jack said, the vinyl record being back is more than just a temporary fad. Thanks for watching.